This episode of the Lead Machine Growth Show is brought to you by Lead Machine, the step-by-step, tech-easy system for getting leads online. Are you ready to start attracting your ideal audience right away? Join the 5-day Lead Magnet Magic Challenge today at www.getleadmachine.com/magic. Say goodbye forever to struggling with lead magnets and say hello to getting your offers seen by your ideal clients. Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show, where you will discover how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. Paul Guyan, the mastermind behind the Lead Machine, introduces you to trailblazers who inspire you to implement life-changing solutions and systems you can model to nurture your leads and get your offers seen by your ideal clients who will invest in themselves and you. Be sure you visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, tune in and get ready to transform your vision into reality.
Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show, where passion meets entrepreneurship and dreams become reality. I'm Paul Guyan, your Lead Machine coach, host, and international best-selling author, and tech and marketing expert, passionate about helping you, the entrepreneur, coach, and solo entrepreneur, tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. Are you ready to unleash your full potential and achieve extraordinary results? Then you're in the right place. We'll dive deep into the strategies, insights, and stories of trailblazers, like our guest, who have overcome the obstacles of technology, marketing, and mindset, and making a huge impact on their audience and customers. So buckle up and get ready for an exhilarating ride with inspiration, motivation, and practical advice. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, let's get this conversation started and turn your dreams into reality. So thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to talk more about AI, artificial intelligence, and discuss how to write ChatGPT-generated copy in your unique style and finish your projects in record time and still preserve your core beliefs, your tone, your message, and tell your own story. Now, on a personal note, I first met our guest and his partner in February when it wasn't really the cusp, but it seemed like it was the cusp of what was breaking, this new technology, AI, generative AI, and how it relates to marketing content. And I was so interested, I joined their AI Success Club right away. And it was the first episode, I think, that first or second, I asked Andy, said, hey, can this write a sales letter? And then the next episode, he came out and said, act as though you're so-and-so. Are you familiar with this formula, this 12-step formula? Write a sales letter, and this is my audience, this is my product, this is the call to action. And all these prompts were coming up, and I was just going, wow, I've got to have Andy and I've got to have Denise on my show. And sure enough, we've got Andy on the show. Let me introduce to you Andy O'Brien. Andy O'Brien's professional journey began in the corporate marketing world during the 1990s, where he played a pivotal role in launching high-speed internet to 500,000 people. But his passion for copywriting led him to leave corporate behind and fully embrace his first love. Over the years, Andy has sharpened his skills and expertise writing copy for thousands of clients in the heart-centered space, including coaches, speakers, and authors. Today, he stands at the forefront of the AI revolution as co-founder of the AI Success Club. Andy is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs just like you write copy faster and easier by harnessing the power of tools like ChatGPT in the most authentic and human and morally altruistic way, I believe, possible. Andy, I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming and welcome.
Hey, thanks, Paul. It's an honor to be here and to follow Denise, who was just on with you. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's amazing that I have you right back to back. So that's how it's gonna. I think that's how it's gonna play out. So How are people using ChatGPT? I know how I'm using it. I'm using it to get ideas and to take some of my ideas and regenerate them. And that's kind of how I'm kind of tricking it to sound like me. But how are people using ChatGPT today to write their own copy? And what's
Well,
interesting about that?
yeah, it's what it's doing now is replacing the blank page dilemma. Most people,
Yeah.
maybe not most, but I know as a copywriter, I mean, I've been writing copy for the last 20 years, and I've had my blank page moments, where I just like am totally lost. Like, okay, how do I start? I need some inspiration. I need some type of, muse, to get rolling with writing whatever I have to write. So whether it's a sales page or emails, or a social media post even, or if I'm trying to find like that one ideal headline, or a subject line. I can't tell you how many times over the years that I've written an email and then just was totally stumped about the subject line. And without
Yeah.
the subject line, as you know, without something good, your email's not even going to get read. So there's things like that, or without a good headline, your sales page isn't going to get read, or I mean, I could go on, but it's
Yeah.
just people are using it really as an icebreaker and as a marketing or writing partner, a creative guide, just something to be a catalyst for their creativity. And that's kind of what I've found every day. I'm really immersed in this stuff, and so it's been really quite a ride over the last 7-8 months. ChatGPT first came on the scene in November, and nobody really, I mean, the holidays going on, and it was it kind of was under the radar for a couple of weeks, and then things started kind of bubbling a little bit. There started to get a little buzz, and I remember talking to Denise right around between Christmas and New Year's. I think we had a little call, and we were like, okay, she's been kind of a mentor of mine for a long time. And I'm talking about Denise Wakeman, who is my co-founder on the AI Success Club. And she just said, well, ChatGPT, have you tried it? And this was back in December, and it was new, and I had kind of dabbled in it. But at no point back then was I like thinking this was going to be a revolutionary thing. But a couple of weeks later, as I got, more attuned to what it could do, its capabilities, I was pretty blown away. And I even put a post in Denise's membership area saying, I feel like the cavemen who just discovered fire. I mean, it was that mind blowing on so many levels, not just copywriting. I mean, content marketing, and you've got Midjourney with the image development, and just so many different capabilities. And so that's really how it was born. But to get back to your question, I think people are just using it as a creative guide right now. However, there are a lot of people who are using it as a crutch, as a way to just get things done quicker than it should be. Like, okay, what I used to spend 6 hours on, now I can do it in 15 minutes, and all I have to do is cut and paste. And that's the danger I'm seeing. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself. But it's just so exciting. I just can't stop talking about this stuff.
I know it is a lot of fun to talk about. One of my mentors, Ben Gay III, he's probably the top sales man. He wrote the series, the Closers, and he actually, back in the 60s, he employed Zig Ziglar, and they were buddies. Anyway, he wrote a post on Facebook the other day. He said, yeah, a buddy of mine sent me a thank you email or something like that, and I said, I knew it stunk. I knew that he used AI to write it, and I deleted it. So don't send me that crap.
Right.
And so it can be offensive, and you can see it. You can tell if people have done it, who have used it. The title, the headlines are longer. there's 17 bullet points instead of 5. And we as copyright, I'm an amateur copywriter also. As marketers, we all have to wear different hats. And the odd number of bullets, I think, still is a method or part of the methodology of copywriting. And when you see 10 of them, and ChatGPT frequently gives you 10 bullet points when you unless you train it to do the right thing. And so
Right.
you can tell when people, and these are the mistakes that people are making, they're just copying, pasting, and they're getting it done they're getting crap done, but what are they doing with their audience? How is their audience responding? And more than likely, those marketers who are doing that, their audiences aren't responding as well as they could, and maybe they're not responding at all.
It's a turnoff,
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that in the future that we're going to come full circle at some point. It's
Yeah.
going to be, I don't know if you remember the Dr. Seuss book on the Sneetches, where you have this group of island dwelling characters who develop this newfangled giant star on their bellies, and
Oh,
and the ones that had stars were like, ooh, wow, we're really special. So along comes this guy with this machine who will give everybody stars. And so they all go in the machine, and then all of a sudden nobody is special anymore. So now this same guy comes back with a machine to take the stars off. And so he walks away, rich, and these other and leaving the Sneetches like wondering what happened. So it reminds me of that, the whole ChatGPT boom, because eventually people are going to realize that if everything is AI, then there really is no humanity left. And there needs to be some type of resurgence of the humanizing part of it. And that's kind of why I'm doing it before all that. Like the YouTube channel I started, I mean, I'm humanizing copy in there. So you really need to go in there and tweak what ChatGPT gives you, or you run the legitimate real risk of looking like everybody else. And, you will not succeed like you thought you would. You're going to save all this time, but you won't be authentic anymore. And that's really what I'm seeing for a lot of people. I'm seeing a lot of the same old cliche words that ChatGPT is using, like revolutionary, revolutionize, take to the next level, say hello to this and say goodbye to that. These are terms that ChatGPT is using because it recognizes out into the ether, because it's a language model. So it's only pulling out things that people have used so often for so long, and it's just spitting it back out and saying, okay, use these words because they've worked in the past. But it's doing it for everybody. And so now if you see those words on sales pages, in emails and social media, you're like, this person just is using AI. So why should I buy his stuff or her stuff if all they're doing is taking and pasting in the ChatGPT stuff? But what's cool about the stuff that Denise and I are doing in the club is we're doing prompting that is more in tune with your unique voice. So you can kill two birds. You can have your cake and eat it too with ChatGPT. So you just have to know the right prompts and the right follow-ups and how to tweak it correctly. So that's what we're trying to do with our members. And you're in the club as well, so you probably know what we're trying to accomplish in there.
Yeah, the thing that I discovered early on was that ChatGPT is a conversation. So you're having a conversation with a language model. And Denise and I were talking about this last week. She was quoting, last time we were on it, rather, Brennan Woodruff, who said that the basically paraphrasing this, that the AI model really isn't isn't learning, it's the user who's learning how to ask better questions. And that's true in marketing, period. The better you can be clear about who your audience is, what their problems are, how you articulate how you solve them. When you ask better questions, you can arrive at those things faster, and your marketing will be better. And ChatGPT is teaching people to ask better questions, which is fabulous. And it was the
True.
follow-up prompts that that you were showing us in the club that I went, aha, okay. So now I can take a response and I can refine it and say, I don't really quite like that, but I like this part of it. And maybe I can learn how to ask it better questions so I get better output from it. So
Yeah, the beauty really is in the follow-ups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk
take
about that for a minute.
Yeah, you can
Go
take
ahead.
multiple, try multiple follow-up prompts until you get your ideal result. And this happens to me every day. I mean, if I'm working on an email and I give it specific instructions and all the great context that it needs and all that, and then it still gives me something, mediocre, lackluster, I will have that conversation and keep working with it until, I mean, let's say you have a copywriter. Let's say you hired a human copywriter to work with, and naturally you're going to ask that person for revisions. Very rarely is the home run hit on the first draft. So it's
Right.
just like having a copywriter as one of your employees or vendors or whatever. You will keep having different iterations until you're happy. And so really ChatGPT is no different than that, except it's a lot quicker. So
Yeah.
as long as you give it the right follow-up instructions, it will do what you tell it. And so many times, I mean, I've been so happy with ChatGPT's results after a few follow-up prompts. I've actually thanked it and complimented it and been like, great job, this is
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you, and it'll say, oh, you're welcome. Happy to help. Just keep me posted and let me know what else you need. So it's
Yeah.
pretty wild how like you really can have real conversations with an artificial being. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And I learned that from you, to thank and say, oh, great job. And I'd read somewhere, I'm just scooping up this information wherever I can. And there's bad AI information out there, folks, that can lead you astray. There's charlatans, or, there's scammers out there too that you should be aware of. Just like, going out in uncharted waters, you need to be wary and prepared. But I learned that, I read that thanking the chat bot would potentially give you better results. Not sure if that's true, but it may make you feel better about working with someone and asking them for help and results. So it's just good etiquette, I think.
Well, I have a theory about that.
Yeah.
I think that if you thank or praise or both ChatGPT, it comes out in your personality that it's learning. So if it knows that you are somebody who is grateful and who likes to commend the people you're working with, it will take that and use it in future things that it does for you, at least in the session you're in. So
Yeah.
because with each new chat button you hit, you start from a clean slate. But it's
Right.
always good to thank ChatGPT, in my opinion. I just think it's something that can't hurt. Takes a split second to write it, and then it will know that it's going in the right direction.
Well, gratitude is always a good practice anyway, no matter what. I mean, it makes your life better. The person
Right.
who's thankful, their life has more abundance, I believe, than those who aren't grateful for what they have. So can we talk about follow-up prompts? Can you give like an example of a prompt that would help, let's say a coach, let's say it was a health coach, discover some key information that they might not know about their audience, and just maybe one example with a follow-up. And we're not
Well,
going to share this on the screen, but maybe
sure.
where you'd like to start with that.
Well, actually, I'm glad you started with that, because knowing your audience is really the foundation of anything in marketing.
Everything, yeah.
So that's really the starting point that's the most logical when dealing with ChatGPT, is having it learn about your target audience. So if you are teaching ChatGPT about your target, like telling it as much as you know about it, and then having it come back to you with other aspects of your audience that maybe you didn't know, that didn't realize,
Yeah.
then you could go back to it and say, okay, now that you know the age range and the niche and the specialties and the pain points and the desires of my target audience, now I want to know where they hang out on social media. Where
Right.
are they most apt to read my content? And that would be a great follow-up question. So as another follow-up, or in the same follow-up, you could say, and I've done this, I think I've done this in one of the classes that we did in the club, not only where they hang out, but why do they hang out there? What is it about Instagram, for example, that appeals to my target audience? What do they like? And it'll say, well, it's because they are visual and they like to tie images with motivational messages, and they, whatever, it will give you the reasons behind them going to a particular social media platform. And that's just an example. That's just one
And
way.
Yeah, and they're also probably high likelihood that they're using their smartphone to consume content versus a desktop or a tablet, more than likely, because a lot of consumers using Instagram are on, and they do everything on their smartphones. They write copy on their smartphones.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing like that I discovered, that's a great thing to do if you want to, let's say you want to start doing Instagram Reels, but it's totally you just don't get it. You just aren't feeling it. You don't know, but you know how powerful it is. You know that it is it's really getting a lot of people views and engagements, and it's a powerful tool for content marketing, but you don't have the faintest idea how to use it, and you don't really know where to begin. So just as an example, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what you could do is say to ChatGPT, tell me all about how to use Instagram Reels like I'm 5. And it will give you not only the answer to that step by step, but it will make it fun and appealing, like you're literally 5 years old and you're learning like a total newbie, a total beginner with Reels. And it's so cool the way it will tell you, okay, first of all, you need to go and transfer your videos, because if you have videos on your desktop, you can't really do Reels well. It really needs to happen on your phone. So you need to take those and move them over to your phone, and it's just the way it presents this information to you, like you're 5, and it's really helpful.
Wow, I'm going to use that because I'm like 5 years old on Instagram.
Me too. That's why I use that example. Because I want to use Reels, and I'm clueless.
I know, I do too. Another way that people are using ChatGPT, and I'm using it. I'm an IT manager also in my bag of tricks, and I have an Access database that was really, really old, and I want to enable the users to be able to do their data entry work. They create labels, and I want to instead of using the report writer that's built in, which isn't really very robust, I want to have them do a mail merge with Microsoft Word. And I have to upgrade to the most recent version, to the most latest version and most latest capabilities of Access, Microsoft Access, in order to be able to trigger a mail merge from within the Visual Basic code that's embedded in, which is maybe over a lot of people's head. But what I did is I actually went to Bard, not ChatGPT. I went to Bard because it was able to input it actually uploaded my database and my code and my mail merge document. And I gave it an assignment to upgrade the code, upgrade the database, and add these new features to it. And so it's actually going out and it's doing a project for me right now. And it's going to email me when it's done, and it has an estimate for what it's going to invoice me to get the final product. So I've just saved myself, 30 or 40 hours worth of programming time. And in a past life, I was a programmer. I've done lots of programming, and former CIO and coder and all that in my past life. But I don't want to code. I have more important, higher level things to do. So I'm having AI do it for me. And Amazon has had little robots and things doing little tasks for a long time using AI, and so it's really getting more powerful. But anyways, it does give you instructions like that. I asked the ChatGPT how to get some tasks done with Excel. What I wanted to do is I wanted to count the number of words in one cell, and if it was more than if there were this number of words, I wanted it to copy it into other cells to separate them. And it gave me 3 formulas to do that. And so it gave me the formula, and I could just hit copy, and I pasted the formula into the column B and into column C, and column A was where my list of names was, and it was able to split those up perfectly. But it would have taken me, I could have done that on my own because I'm an Excel user and I know it really well, but I was able to use ChatGPT to solve that problem in 5 minutes.
Saved you a lot of work, I'm sure.
It saved me a lot of work, and I documented the whole process, and I gave it to my client, and now their whole team knows how to do that, so they can do that work, and it's a no-brainer. So it saves them time. So it's saving time in the workplace for really practical things. And,
it's really a productivity revolution going on right now. As long as you use it the right way and know what prompts to use, and I'll tell you, not even a year from now, but I'd say 6 months from now, we're going to be looking back on this podcast and the things we're talking about, and realize, wow, it's pretty funny, like how much it is already advanced just in 6 months.
And how naive we are. Yeah. So in 6 months, Andy, we'll have to have you and Denise back on the show, and we'll do an update, ChatGPT-2. And for sure, we're just scratching the surface. So,
probably 1 month, but yeah, it's I was going to say a year, but I was thinking 6 months. It's just wild. There's just so many things every day. There's new stuff coming out.
Yeah. So how can people be more authentic when using AI and still save time?
Well, there are a lot of things you can do to train ChatGPT to write the way you write. You can teach it certain things. Like what you can do is give ChatGPT the exact way that you like to write, your own style. And that's really what would differentiate you from other ChatGPT users, if you are able to just give it all the different things about your writing style. Like, what's your tone? Are you conversational? Do you write in more of a formal way? Are you casual? Are you academic? Those are different tone styles. What about your humor style? Are you witty? Are you sarcastic? Do you like to use puns? What about like dry humor, or, just do you like to tell jokes or whatever? You could give that to ChatGPT. How about your emotional expression? Do use direct statements? Do you like to use vivid imagery or subtle hints in the way you express things emotionally? And then there's the storytelling aspect, which is a whole other conversation. Do
Yeah.
you like to tell anecdotes, or do you have certain personal experiences that you want to share with ChatGPT so it can use it in your marketing material or your content? What about hypotheticals? Do you like to use that when you're telling stories? And then there's the pacing. Is your style fast-paced or slow or reflective? And just all these things. And there's a way that you could give this to ChatGPT. You can either pull out some of the content you've already written out there, like articles or blog posts, or transcripts to podcasts you've done, or videos. You just give this to ChatGPT to analyze your writing style, or you just spoon feed it all the things that I just talked about with your tone and all that. But the important thing is to share examples, and you can find
Yeah.
these all over the place. Like, I'm sure your listeners, the folks listening to this now, are have things on their hard drive that they could pull out and that are a good example of their writing style and their personality and their unique voice. And if you just give these to ChatGPT and prompt it in a way that tells it to learn that, then you're in pretty good shape. And actually, one of the things that folks can, actually one of the things I want to give away on this is a style guide that people can use to help them to help ChatGPT. So it's basically a way for them to see an example and a questionnaire. Like, they can even ask or answer questions that are in this this PDF that I have that will help them to aid ChatGPT to learn their voice. And it will go a long way to to getting a lot of things done in your unique style with ChatGPT, instead of just trying to wing it without all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so people listening to this can have that as a gift, and it's really very helpful.
Okay, and we'll put that on the episode page so you can find it. We'll get to the gift in a minute. About the style guide, I of course I have the style guide, and I found it much easier to give the chatbot my examples of my writing than to even really know what my tone is. What is my style? What is my emotional expressions? How do I tell stories? I know that part. I tell them sequentially. If you read my newsletter this morning, I left the dock and we went out to see the fireworks, and the boat sank and all that. But first the earth cooled, then the dinosaurs came. That's how I tell the stories. Finally, just like Cliff Clavin on Cheers. But some people don't know what their style is my point. I have an outsourced SEO company doing some writing for one of my clients, and we ended up rewriting all their content that they gave us, even though that what we did is we developed a more descriptive buyer persona for them with use cases, so they understood our market better. We did that, but then they gave us some content templates, some content intake templates, so we could tell them keywords and definitions and more about the topic that they were trying to write about. This helps save time. Hopefully they're going to. It's the same thing you would do with a copywriter or with ChatGPT. You've got to tell it what you want, and so that's kind of what we're doing with the humans. So it's similar to that.
That's great.
But they can't take in the as easily as ChatGPT, and they can't intake all the content that we've written and derive what we want out of it, because we know our domain really well and they don't. So that's what you have to teach ChatGPT, is not just your style, but your domain too, like your audience.
Yeah, and the reason why I mention a style guide is because every session you have to start over again. So it's good to have
Right.
that guide to teach it, and it's all in the prompting.
Yeah.
You can give it your style, and if you don't know what your style is, then you can, either ask other people, or like you said, just put in examples of your writing, and it can usually pull out uh, aspects of your writing style from that. One of the things I like to tell people is take some of your responses in social media because
Uh-huh.
that can really draw. I mean, that's when your personality really comes out. Like if you're in a group,
Mm.
and it could even be a group about a TV show or something like that. It doesn't even have to be professional. It could
Yeah.
be any type of group. But give it some of those old posts or things that you've posted on Facebook or wherever that can showcase your personality, and it will help.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like you said, each session is a new session. Once you've taught ChatGPT your style with your style guide, or with your, if you give it samples, you could tell it to output a style guide for you, which you could then copy and paste into a document that you can save. So the next time you do a session with maybe a new session, and you want to teach chat, you got to teach, it's like 50 First Dates, you got to teach it all over again, the movie 50. You got to
That's a
teach it
great
all over
analogy.
again. So you can take though that style guide, either the one that you made or the one that the chatbot made for you, and teach it and say, this is my style, I'm going to call this the Andy O'Brien copywriting style. Use that to write this email, and it's about these things. So that's a way that you can reuse that style guide. Isn't that right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
if just to pivot a little over to the storytelling aspect, you can actually create a story guide too. Like
Oh, okay.
if you want to have ChatGPT help you with your storytelling, like if you have a really great hero's journey that nobody knows about, or just some story you want to share, or just have it learn about what your values or beliefs are and what your challenges have been, or things like that. There is a story guide that you can also use, and in the same way as a style guide. So there's just a lot of
Uh-huh.
things that you can feed ChatGPT so it will do its job better for you.
So speaking of storytelling then, and I've seen you do a presentation on storytelling. We probably won't have time to go real deep into that, but what kinds of stories do you recommend that marketers create, and with the aid of artificial intelligence? Or really, I know that we need stories around our experiences, maybe case studies with our clients, or maybe our genesis story, why we do what we do. So could you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people probably think that when it comes to storytelling, it's only about your story. And a lot of people don't really want to tell their story, or they don't want to share it. There could be really personal things that they don't want to divulge or whatever. But there's so many other facets of storytelling that ChatGPT can help you with, like how your company started, what your inspirational business idea was to arrive at this business you're in now. What about the journey of your company? What peaks and valleys did it encounter along the way? What about the journey of a product that you were about to release, like that you've been working on for years, let's say, and all of a sudden you got this epiphany? Like what's the story behind that? How does your journey relate to your target audience's journey? That's a connection you can
Mm,
make to your target that really shows a lot of empathy, and your target will get you at that point. Like they'll start to know, like, and trust you, which is, as we all know, is the basis of long-term client relationships. And
or any
so,
relationship. Yeah.
yeah, anyway, um,
Yeah.
so you could do just stories of trial and error, success stories of your past clients or customers. Those are stories, testimonials, and case studies. So there's a lot of ways to incorporate all kinds of stories into what you're doing so that ChatGPT can help you to craft something that people can really put their arms around. And that can be in a sales page or social media or emails and, blog posts, articles, so many different possibilities.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Those other ways, just thinking about how your company started and your journey are kind of people don't even really get that. I mean, a lot of people don't know how important that is to connect with your audience, to tell your story and what you overcame to get there, or even like I sank my boat on the 4th of July. I told that story only because I want people to relate to me. I know some of my people on my list are boaters, and so they would relate to that, and I related that to the business journey as well, but by going out on uncharted waters and not being prepared and not knowing where I was going, and having a better feel for that, as a metaphor for, okay, you need guidance, you need to have vision, but you still need to take risks in business. So that's a great way to connect with people when you uncover who you are, what you're about, what you care about,
And the way you just described your story, kind of having a moral, and ChatGPT can even help you with that. Like, here's this story. You could give it a story and it'll give you different inspiring morals to come out of it, lessons learned. And it's amazing. You could be the storyteller into ChatGPT, and then it can turn around and give you other takes on it and ways to share it with your audience.
And that's the surprising thing when you do that. I did that when I was writing this story, and it came back with some stuff that I didn't want to use, but it came back with, I said, what's the moral of this story? And I knew what the moral was, but I wanted to know if there was more. And I wanted to know, is there another moral that I could use to transition to? This is a business newsletter. I wanted to take this fun story about sinking my boat on 4th of July and turn it into something that's useful for a business owner. And so it was able to draw those perspectives. I was just kind of testing it to see what it would come up with, because I already knew kind of where I was going. But it really was helpful to help me go through that thought process,
right,
and to ask myself. Like I said, I think we're getting better because of this technology. We're getting better as marketers and storytellers just by asking the right questions.
And the nice thing about having ChatGPT learn your unique voice is we learn more about ourselves when we start this exercise with ChatGPT. Like, oh yeah, I guess that is my writing style. Okay, I never realized that. And you become more aware of how you write and the reasons behind the things you say and the motivations behind them. And it's just it's enlightening. A lot of this.
It really is. So what do you see the future of this? We were talking before the show and during the show, maybe in 6 months we're going to be looking back and saying, oh geez, we were pretty naive back then. You don't really know what the future is, but what are your thoughts on the future of direct response copywriting and content marketing for AI, and now that AI is here?
There's going to be a lot more plugins, that's for sure. More apps, more, and there are already quite a few, but I always gravitate back to ChatGPT because they're all based on that. So, you see all these offshoots, all these different other ways that you can write your copy or write content using these other applications. But at the end of the day, just go to ChatGPT. If you know the right prompts, you don't have to open up all these other plugins.
And I think that prompt engineering that's baked into those apps is what people are after, because they don't want to learn, or they don't have the time, or they don't take the time to learn how to prompt. I keep coming back to ChatGPT too. I have a tool called Quick Write, which is for authoring books. and which is great, and it's purpose built for that. It has the prompts built into it. You just answer some questions, and it comes out with what you would expect. But I keep coming back to ChatGPT because I'm just more familiar with it, and it's easier to have a conversation than to plug in a template. And
Yes.
a template, to me, a template can be limiting because there's other context that might be necessary that there's not a place to plug in,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and there's and you want to fill in all the blanks, but you don't know what the reasoning behind the blank is. And so I like the freeform nature of ChatGPT because of that, and because of the conversational prompts and following up and fine tuning, and I like that. But you're right. There's going to be more apps and courses and teachers and mastermind groups, and that's already happening. And I think you need to listen to people who you trust with this, because I know that there's going to be a lot of the ill will that's going to be baked into some of these apps also,
Right.
malware, and I've been reading on security and private information, and you need to be really careful about what you share with the chat bot, because there's that personally identifiable information that what does it do with it? Does it stay in that session, or does it get stored? We don't really know. So you need to be careful with it.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
pretty
else?
scary.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I really think the future is in the humanization of it. And that's kind of when I was talking about Dr. Seuss earlier, is I
Yeah.
really think at some point there's going to be a pivotal breaking point where everyone's like just so jaded with all of these, all the ChatGPT generated copy that's out there, and they're going to be clamoring for humanization again. And so, we will get there. It will happen. And so,
Yeah.
so I don't think copywriters need to worry. I think they are just ride this wave for a while and make the most of it. And hang on, because there will always be a market for authenticity, and in this
You got
wave.
that right.
And it's funny because people have told me, oh, well, there are plugins to humanize, to make your copy authentic. It's like, no, wait a minute. It's still AI, so you can't. There's no human plugins. We are the plugins. Our own brains are the plugins
Right.
for this stuff. You can't farm that out. I don't care how many plugins you got to make somebody's voice authentic. It comes down to taking what ChatGPT gives you, putting it in a Word doc or a Google doc, and tweaking it, fixing it up, putting your own little nuances into it. There will always be that need in the marketplace for your personality. And I preach this all the time. You can't copy and paste this stuff.
And I think that's why I gravitated towards you and Denise, because I could tell I could tell that's where you were going with it. And when you pretend to be authentic, you'll be found out and replaced. If you aren't really authentic and you aren't really who you say you are, you'll be found out. Even the Bible talks about that. And so those things that are behind closed doors, that the truth will be unleashed, the truth will be found out. And so people gravitate towards the truth and towards authenticity. And they also, right now, they're gravitating towards get it done.
True. Yeah.
And I like the intersection, and Diana or Denise and I were talking about that intersection of AI, content marketing, and the user, and how the user grows and learns from it, like we're talking about, and how you would take that and make that human. Then I think you're going to be really winning with AI. when you
Absolutely.
can do
And
that.
just to tell you a little story I did last week, there was this big promotion going on for this product all week long. And I was, kind of dabbling with ChatGPT a bit. And I thought, and I was getting some decent conversion rates on the emails I was putting out. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to just write an email from scratch like I used to do before ChatGPT, and I'm going to see what happens. And so I devoted, half hour, 45 minutes. I banged out an email in my own words and real authentic the way I used to. And my conversion rates doubled or even tripled, I think, on that email. So I'll tell you, it's there's a big difference, and people are spotting it already.
Oh yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, as fast as it rose and it's rising, it's going to come crashing down, maybe, or it's certainly going to evolve. We know that, and so are we as people. And maybe someday, we'll have chips in our head so we can transfer that human, but it still isn't going to be work. Still isn't going to work. We still need to be human, and humans connect with humans, and face to face is the best way to be. And telling authentic stories and being real is really where it's at, in my opinion. And I think that you agree with that.
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So Andy, as we wrap up today, and thanks for the extra time, wrap up with your final words. And I'd like to know, what are 3 things that our listeners can do to put these ideas into action?
All right. Well, I think the first thing would be to really do some soul searching, dig deep into who you want to be online. What persona do you really want to reflect out there? And then, take that and document it with your writing style and with the stories you want to tell, and create these things so that you can have ChatGPT alongside you. The second thing, though, is to really make sure that ChatGPT is your helper, your assistant, your muse, for when you have that blank page that we talked about earlier, and not just a get it done for you thing. It's a done with you product or tool. It's not a done for you tool. And we just to coin those phrases from way back when. And I guess the third thing is to just be mindful of how you're putting your prompts in. Make sure that you write good follow-up prompts and help ChatGPT to help you to take what it gives you, really take a good look at it. And if it's not you, if it doesn't feel right, have it try it again. And if that doesn't feel right, have it try it again. Keep trying until you're happy. And if it takes longer, just put it in perspective. It's still going to be a fraction of the time it used to take to do this stuff, whether it's,
Right.
whatever it is you're writing, your sales page, your emails. It can do so much, and to just keep it in perspective and don't get overly enthusiastic about it. Keep it all in perspective. So
Right. Keeping it real.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much, Andy, for being on the show today. Like I said with Denise, we're just scratching the surface of this. There's so much more. Andy is he has launched a fabulous YouTube channel called the AI Copy Lab. And you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe and check that out. It's got some great tips about what we're talking about here. You'll learn a lot. It's at YouTube, www.youtube.com/@AI Copy Lab. So that's www.youtube.com/@. That's shift 2 on your keyboard for people who know how to type on a keyboard. That's @AI Copy Lab. And there's also, if you check out the resources on the Lead Machine Growth Show page for this episode, which you'll find also information on the AI Success Club. And game-changing prompts to boost your traffic. So there are some other resources that we'll have up there on the episode page. And Andy, you mentioned the style guide. Was it that you were mentioning?
Yeah, and I'd love for everyone listening to have those style guides, and we can put that on the page as well, right? They can just download those.
Yeah. It's the URL for that will be www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com/Andy-O'Brien. That's Obryan. So that's www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com/Andy-O'Brien, Obryan. Is that right, Andy?
That is right. Yeah, YAN, not IEN. So
right, that's right. And so thank you. As we wrap up, remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So put the pedal to the metal. And until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyan, and thank you, Andy, again for being on the show.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyan, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.